Hi, I'm John from Just Whisky, and today is Just News. Price increases. If you like today's show, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And I know what you're thinking. What's in it for me if I become a Patreon? Well, I will tell you. What I've been doing is once or twice a month, I've been doing Patreon exclusive reviews. Okay, so they're not available to the public, and they never will be. And if you become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month, you will get to see my library, my increasing library of Patreon exclusive reviews. Okay, and remember, folks, not only is it just whiskey, it's just news. Today we're going to be focusing on price increases. And there's more than one elephant in the room, but let's start with the most recent elephant, Diageo 2023 special releases, right? But before you start judging, let's just finish what let me finish what I have to say, and you can judge for yourself. All right. So Diageo, every year, special releases. So this year they have the Mortlach NAS, $280, finished in Pinot Noir and Japanese casks. Okay. Talisker NAS, $135. Finished in white, tawny, and ruby port. Kleinleach 10-year-old, first fill ex-bourbon, $200. Wow. And again, these are all cask strength releases. Oban 11-year-old, $140, finished in Caribbean rum casks. Lagavulin 12-year-old, finished in Don Julio Anejo casks, $170. Rose Isle 12-year-old. This is a brand new, a new Diageo distillery, first major release. Rose Isle 12-year-old ex-bourbon, $150. Singleton Glendolyn 14-year-old, $135. Finished in or matured in Chardonnay French oak. Glenkinchie 27-year-old, $400. Finished in refill bourbon and European oak. Okay. Me personally, sure, I would love to get the sample set and taste every single one of these. But maybe some of these are good. I don't know. But to fork over $170 for the new Lagavulin 12-year-old in a ex tequila cask finish, personally, it doesn't really intrigue me or interest me. The Talisker does, because I'm a Talisker fanboy, but I can immediately eliminate the Mortlach. I can eliminate the Oban. I can eliminate the Lagavulin, the Singleton, the Glenkinchie. The Rose Isle, yeah, it sounds interesting, but $150 for a 12-year-old cask strength. The one that interests me the most, besides the Talisker, is the Kleinleach 10-year-old first fill ex-bourbon, but for $200. I mean, I just can't justify that. All right. Now let's move on to, in no particular order, Yoichi, Japanese whiskey, right? They discontinued the 10-year-old, but brought it. It's coming back now. But the NAS is about $100, and it's 44% ABV, chill filtered and colored. Yoichi has just released the 2022 version Comes in at 48%. Okay, it's called the aromatic yeast, non-age stated, $275. So you can taste what their experiment is with yeast. $275 for a non-age stated Japanese whiskey. Yeah, and then the Yoichi, I've been told that they're bringing back the Yoichi 10-year-old, and that's going to be close to $300. These are all U.S. prices that I'm quoting. Okay, here's another kick in the butt, right? Bit of an eye-opener. Pernod Ricard, they own Middleton Distillery, Redbreast, right? So Redbreast just released a non-age stated 20 port, 46% ABV. The MSRP was supposed to be $100 US, but once it actually hit once it went past the distribution, the MSRP overnight jumped from $100 to between $170 and $200 for a Redbreast non-age stated 46% 20 port finish. And not only that, I've been told that the newer Redbreast 27-year-olds, the MSRP on those are going to be $1,000. Okay, the last three releases were between $475 and $525. You're talking doubling in price overnight, and that's not small change, folks. What I've seen, Talisker 10, which was my whiskey of the year last year. I can still barely find it for around $50. But one store that I am a loyal customer with, the new price on Talisker 10 is $100 US. And it's sitting right next to Talisker 18 for $150. I'm sure once those Talisker 18s have been sold, I can only imagine what the price is going to be on those. The Talisker Storm, I can still find that if I try hard for $40, but I'm seeing that price at Talisker Storm, NAS, non-age stated, going from $40 to $70 to $80. Moet Hennessy owns Ardbeg and Glenmorangie. I used to pick on them, but now they seem, in perspective, relatively reasonable. However, the new anthology 13-year-old, and so it's the first in a release, 13-year-old comes in at 46% ABV, right? It's $165. Their Heavy Vapors, which they've recently released, NAS, that's $140. So it kind of looks like the Glenmorangie, like the Tales of, and even their wine specials. I mean, they're under $100, which seems like a relative bargain. And putting everything in perspective, Lefroy. So not price increases, but Lefroy is owned by Beam Suntory. Arguably one of the best, if you're into heavily peated offerings, one of the best values out there, really. I mean, their Carchus releases, they're NAS, but they're damn close to cask strength. And they're south of $100. And same thing with Lefroy 10 cask strength. It's somewhat south of $100. So in perspective, it seems like a relative bargain. And we're not going to go on too much longer here, but during the summer there was like these nominations for if you could only pick one whiskey for the rest of your life, a realistic whiskey, right? What would it be? So I was never nominated, but just going to throw it in real quick here. the no-brainer for me would be Springbank 12 cask strength, but you can't find it. So over here, if I could only have one whiskey for the rest of my life, it would be Craig Alecky 13-year-old. And I can still find it, for it went from $50 to $52 in some of my local areas, okay? But I do see this nudging up in many markets, $60, $70, $80 now. So my message is, if you have a single malt or a blend or whatever it is that you really like, and you find it for a reasonable relative value for money, my advice is to take advantage of that situation, because the tides are turning rapidly, and overnight, when these retail stores have to replenish their stocks, as an example, Talisker 10, they'll say, okay, yeah, the MSRP was 50, now it's 100. And that could happen for Craig Alecky 13. MSRP $50 to $60. Who knows? It could go up quick. So that's my advice. Don't go crazy spending money you don't have. Don't be chasing these unicorns and the higher end things. But the sobering truth is that single malt whiskey, not only Scotch whiskey, but single malt world whiskeys, are not only becoming a luxury product, okay? I chose my words carefully there. A luxury product that has to make profit for the shareholders. It's becoming a rich man's game. I mean, we're all seeing many bottles, not to beat up just Diageo, but so many bottles now are surpassing the 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, $1,000 threshold, okay, with the Redbreast 27, okay. So again, I hope you found this helpful. I look forward to any and all comments and constructive criticism, or any kind of input. But this is the new world. I mean, everything is going up. My grocery bills post-COVID have doubled, and I'm a frugal person. Home heating oil has gone up close to 50% in the last two to 3 years. Gasoline is edging upwards. Cost of living is skyrocketing, and it's not keeping up with our wages. So, I hope that was all helpful. If you like the show, give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Consider becoming a Patreon for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Once or twice a month, you will get an exclusive review. So, hats off to you all. And remember, folks, it's just whiskey and it's just news, in my opinion.